So good afternoon. So we have just seen so many beautiful colors from Africa and also from Brazil, different places. But in ancient China, on the silk, especially we have the 5 color systems. So 5 color always means a lot of colors. The system is more or less related to the philosophy, our ancient philosophy. So normally 5 colors means black and white and red, yellow, and blue. So these 5 colors always represents the 5 directions, like the blue for the east, the white for the west, and the north it's black, and the south is red, but the yellow is in the middle. It's also related to the 5 planets: Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn, and always related to the 5 materials: the metal, wood, water, the earth, or sometimes, yes, the fire. So the best and the most decorative silks in ancient China were always shown in 5 colors, or always called as 5 colors. So now I would like to give you 3 examples for 3 different periods in the ancient China. The first example is the Chinese very traditional Jin silk, which is the warp-faced compound tabby. So most of the silks excavated from that period were in Xinjiang area, because that's the area near the Taklamakan deserts, which is very dry, and the silks and other organic materials can be preserved very well in that area. So we can see Nia is our, well, I'm going to talk. So in Nia, it's almost dry, very dry. So sometimes if you get into Nia, you can still find some trees is living, still alive, but the site is almost dead. And the first person who recorded the Nia site is Orstein. So people already know that his name, quite famous for the archaeological work in the Silk Road, on the Silk Road. This picture was taken more or less like 100 years ago. But now, especially in the 1955, the new Chinese archaeologists went into this site and discovered some textiles, including cotton. So this cotton fabric is wax-resist dyed in indigo. So this is the blue color. And we also find some woolen textiles and the silk textiles. Most of them, they have very beautiful color, very good colors. But among that, there's one type is called Jin silk. So it's very traditional Chinese silk. So we can see from that corpse, the older age of the clothing, and also the button of the trousers is made of the Jin silk. And the most famous Jin silk is this piece. It's this one. It's the arm protector. It's a small piece, but we can see the pattern here on this side. On the pattern, we can read in Chinese, 五星出东方利中国, which means 5 planets appearing in the east, which is auspicious to the central China. So the whole meaning is like that. So here we mentioned the 5 planets, but actually this piece was made of 5 colors too. So we can see the 5 colors, which are the blue color, the white color, red, yellow, and green colors. So we can see these 5 colors reach to the 5 planets. So we tried to reproduce that piece because that one, the piece we found from the archaeological sites is only one part of the whole width. Then we try to figure out the whole pattern of the whole width, then reproduce this piece on a real Han Dynasty loom. So you can see this loom and with this piece in our weaving gallery. So the piece, we can see the pattern. Not only this piece has 5 colors on the silk. In the same time, during the same period, we can find some other silks woven in with 5 colors. And if there's, this 5 colors was woven in 1, 2, 4. This kind of special technique of the warp-faced compound tabby. But if we weave in a simpler weave structure, the whole number of the colors are the same. They are always like 5 colors in total. So here we can see what's the 5 colors for the silk. It's always like red, blue, green, yellow, and white. But for our system, the Chinese system, the 5 color is red, black, blue, yellow, and white. So it's slightly different. But we don't know why they use the green color instead of the black color. Probably the dye stuff is not good for the silk fibers, so it's damaged the silk fiber with the brown color. So they prefer to use the green color instead of the black one. Or maybe the brown color, the green color is more beautiful than the black color. So on the textiles, we know the 5 colors are the green and the others, not the black one. But the system, I think, is still the same system because we do see the 5 planets on that. So it should be the same. And we try to, for that piece, because the piece with 5 planets is our national treasure piece. So we cannot do anything on that. But we try to do some other dye testing by Liu Jian. So he found normally the red, for that piece, for this one, these small fragments is the fragments we used for test the dyes. So from that piece, this one, it also has 5 colors. So from here we can see the dye. The red one is the Indian madder, and the blue one is indigo, and the yellow one is sometimes is the luteolin-based dye, and sometimes the Indian madder without mordant. And the green one is the mixture of the indigo and the yellow dye. So during this time, normally we use this kind of technology to dye the 5 colors. And we also made another testing with this sample because this sample has more blue colors than the yellow color. So the madder is what we call the Chinese madder or Oriental madder. It's not Indian madder. But the indigo, yes, we still use the indigo. The madder, the yellow one was dyed with madder without alum. And the green one is a mixture of indigo and amarcoke. Amarcoke is quite typical Chinese yellow dye. So that's the Han Dynasty in China. It's always like the 1st century AD to the 2nd or even to the 3rd century AD. The second example is the cramp-resist dyed silk with 5 colors during the Tang Dynasty. In Tang Dynasty is more or less like 7th to 8th, 9th century. In Tang Dynasty, it's quite popular to have the 3-color pottery. So 3-color glazed pottery is quite common. But we also have another dyed pattern silk, which is the cramp-resist dye, which is invented in the Tang Dynasty. And so on this kind of silk, we can always see 3 colors first. So normally the blue one, the red one, and the white one first. So it's more similar to the three-color portrait. And this one is another example. Yes, we have more examples, mainly found in Dunhuang Library Cave. We have done lots of work on that one because the silks from the Dunhuang Library Cave now mostly collected in the British Museum, Biennale in London, and also sometimes in Musée Guimet in France, and the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. So, but in China, we don't have many. But this kind of technique was quite often collected in the Shosoin, found in the Shosoin collection. So I don't know if they are made in Japan or if some part of them are made in China, imported to Japan, or sometimes they made in Japan too. So, and this is one example from Dunhuang too in the Musée Guimet's collection. So it's the collection from the Hermitage. So this is one good example. The piece was mainly collected. This piece was collected in the British Museum, but this one was collected in both British Museum and the Hermitage. So here we can find the method. Here mainly we have the red color first, the blue color, and the white color is for the ground. But when they dyed this pattern with the red color and the blue color, then they tried to paint the yellow color. So I think the yellow one was painted. So here we can see the white ground, we can see the yellow color. But sometimes if the yellow color was painted on the green one, on the blue one, then the color changed to the green one. And if the yellow color painted on the red one, then the whole color was changed into the origin one. So we get more colors. So basically it has the blue, red, white. After we painted the yellow, then we get more colors. So that's the 5 colors idea. So now we can see what's the system of this one. So the Chinese philosophy idea of the 5 color is the same, but the color is even different from what we see. Yes, we have some different method to make the cramp resist dye in the Tang Dynasty. So this is some different method, and this is cramp resist dye made in the Liao Dynasty, which is probably dated back to the 10th century, slightly later to later than the Tang Dynasty. And this is the same technique, but preserved in Tibet. It's the cover of the tanka. They always use the cramp resist dye. But the date of this group is much later than Tang. Mostly they are late Ming Dynasty to the Qing, which is like 15th century or 16th century, just like this period. So what kind of dye was used for the 5 colors for the cramp resist dye? So Liu Jian tried to do some work, but I'm sorry, we didn't get the sample from the real cramp resist dye. But we did some other materials, other dye testing from other materials from the same period, the similar period. So we can find this kind of results. In Dunhuang textiles, this piece was like 6th to 7th century. The red one was dyed with saffron. Blue is indigo, and yellow is amacoke. And the green one, indigo mixed with the amacoke. And the black one is dyed with tannin. So I mean, here we can see some examples we used to make our dye testing. All these materials were found in the Dunhuang grottos, but this recent excavation. So all these examples were still kept in the Dunhuang Academy local. And we did more research. So here we can see more results of this testing. We also did one example of the testing of the cranberries dye from the late period. So the red one is sponset wood, and the yellow one is bud of pagoda tree, and the blue one is indigo, and the green one is indigo and the bud of the pagoda tree. And during the same time, actually, we have another group system of the 5 colors, because in the Dunhuang library cave, we found some documents from the same period. One example is the silk with 5 colored birds. So that one actually, we all think this kind of birds is the Sogdia textiles, the Sogdia textiles, but it also has the 5 colors as the name of their birds, of their silk. But we did some testing of the Sogdian pieces. It has very strong red color and dark and blue color. So the red ones made madder and the lac, or sometimes cochineal. And the blue one is always indigo. The yellow one is the madder without a loom. Then the third period is the 15th to 17th century. It's in China. It's the Ming Dynasty. In Ming Dynasty, we also have the porcelain with the 5 colors. So the 5 color idea is still existing. Existing in the late period. So we can see this is quite beautiful for the porcelain, because normally the porcelain made of the indigo, blue and white colors. But this group is more colorful. And also from some Chinese paintings from the same period, we can see the 5 colors for the decoration, especially for the dresses. So here now, we're still using the many colors for the dresses. We just did a Chinese costume festival here, and people brought their Ming Dynasty style dresses coming here, and all of them are very, very beautiful. And this men's dress. And for the emperor also have quite a lot of different colors, and people try to make reproduction of this one. And so here we can see actually the 5 colors, most common colors, 5 colors used for this period. It's also the red, blue, green, white, yellow, and white. So normally they don't use the black color. So this is one example from the Confucius family. So this one was kept from the Ming Dynasty until now. We did some research on this piece and found the results of the dye. So there are more than 5 colors in this dress, in this brocade. But I mean, we still call it 5 color because 5 means a lot of colors. So the black color was dyed with tannin, and the dark red is sapon wood, and the bright red is saffron, and the pink is saffron and amacoke, and the organic is turmeric. I'm sorry, because it's done by Jen, so I don't know the name very well. And the dark green is the buds of the pagoda tree and the indigo. And the light green is the amacoke and the indigo. And the yellow one was bud of pagoda tree. The pagoda tree, we planted two trees of the pagoda just in front of our gates. So we try to have the dye garden in this area. So I mean, here are my presentations talking about the 5 colors in the ancient Chinese silks. In different period, we have a different system, different technology of the dyes to represent the philosophy 5 colors. So I hope this symposium and this event can provide more information to the people from all over the world. I hope this Biennale of nature dyes can last longer. And I also put my Facebook number, Feng Zhao, or our museum's Facebook. It's the Friends of China National Silk Museum here. My email address is here, so you can contact us. But probably, if it's much easier to contact Jian Liu than me, as myself. Thank you very much.